Right, Troy, the full setup here, back with another video today. And today, for the first time, I don't have anything to review or to show you. What I wanted to start doing on this channel was sort of like every now and then putting up a video on tech discussions, just sort of how I feel about certain bits of technology or why I'm not buying certain bits like this video is, and just sort of what my views are. Now, this is my view. You don't have to agree with it, and if you don't agree with it, I want to know. If you think you can sway me from my decision, I'd be really interested in that. So yeah, any comments, please put it down below. And if you're not a channel regular, because it's sort of why I'm starting to do these videos for now, please subscribe. So the title of this video is, why am I keeping a 1080p monitor for gaming until 2017? Now, this doesn't mean I'm not going to buy a new monitor this year. It doesn't mean I won't buy a monitor at some point. I am quite considering putting this 27-inch monitor behind me here, and then having an ultra-wide one, which comes down to two things really. Just real estate for when I'm making all these videos and I've got loads of apps open. I just sort of want that nice length, and then also it will sit above my speakers, because my only option for a bigger monitor is to get rid of these, and I really do not want to downgrade speakers. I don't want to buy something really pro for like 300 quid that's that big, that sounds crap and it's not as good as these. So that's why I'm going to get that monitor. So just, it might sound like it's a bit of contradiction here when I get a new monitor after I made this video, but 1080p, yeah, why am I going to keep that? Well, you must be thinking, well, I want to game at 4K, why do you still want to game at 1080p, Troy? Well, a couple of reasons behind this. So let's discuss 4K first then. So recently we've had a whole new load of graphics, well, not a whole new load of graphics cards, 3 new graphics cards announced, 2 that are already released. So firstly, we've got the GTX 1080, which seems to be pretty good at 4K. You know, it's all right. Very, you know, it's capable at 4K gaming. You might in certain games have to drop the settings a bit, but we're there. We're almost there, aren't we? But at the moment, until the price starts to fall when everyone's making cards, it's uber expensive. It's still not affordable for most people. You know, people with real paychecks. And it's not just, you know, buying that graphics card for £600. You've got to buy the PC to go along with it as well, and then your monitor. And so what you're going to be at about £2,000, I reckon, £2,000. So very expensive. Other options for doing that, I think the best option really would be 2 GTX 1070s. That would give you way more than 60 frames per second in 4K gaming. But again, they're still really expensive. They're £400 in the UK at release day, which is absolutely mad. But I expect within 6 months they're going to be about £300 each. So that's still £600, and we're still at that £2,000 mark. RX480s, again, 2 of those will be cheaper at about £400, £450 if you go with 8 gig models, but that will only really keep up with a 1080. So yeah, 4K gaming is definitely, you can definitely do it now and not have to compromise as much. But will these cards be able to play 4K games that come out in 18 months? I'm still not 100% sure of that. So I think there's a slight little wait. You know, we're there, it's getting really close, but it's not quite there yet. And the biggest issue with this is, once you start pushing over that 60 frames per second, we currently do not have a monitor that can do that really. Like, we will be having one because we've got DisplayPort 1.4 coming out. Well, it's already out on it's already going to be on the RX480, which means we can push 60 Hertz. We can push 60 frames per second. Within the next year, you will probably see, you know, 100 Hertz, 144 Hertz 4K monitors. Plus, we've got HDR coming as well. And I know you can never keep up with technology, but I think a monitor, if you're going to spend £400 on a monitor, I think that's a minimum 3-year investment. Minimum 3 years, and then you'll probably keep it for 5 for 2 years. It'll be like this one I've got here, another monitor that sits behind me. And are you going to buy this monitor for it to be out of date in a year? I don't think that's viable. So the next option is we drop down to 1440p. And you can get that, again, 450 quid for a 144 Hertz monitor. You'll be using either FreeSync or G-Sync, so you'll have to select your graphics cards. But then you're just like, that's good, that's a lot better than 1080p, and it is still probably the sweet spot of gaming. But again, it's a year. It's a year. It's probably not. It could be 6 months. You never even know. Someone could announce tomorrow after I make this video that the 100 Hertz monitor is going to come out, and they'll, you know, they'll replace the 1440p monitors. The 1440p monitors will drop in price. They'll be at about £500, you know, after 6 months after them being out. So that's my reason why I did look at quite a few 1440p gaming monitors with the high refresh rate, but I just couldn't justify it for those reasons. I think we can do all this stuff now, but it's just not affordable and it's just not the right time. Which brings me back to 1080p. Now you might be thinking, well, I've got a 1080p monitor, I just don't have the refresh rate, and I sort of do not want to buy the same resolution and to get the improved refresh rate, and that's probably why you want to go to 1440p. And I would say there is another option. I need to get back to 1440p for a second. You might just say, well, I'll get a FreeSync monitor. Oh, don't worry about G-Sync. I'm fine. It's fine. I'll get a FreeSync. And they're a bit cheaper. They're about £250. But problem is, a lot of them, they're 40 to 75 frames per second. You've got to really tweak your games to keep it within that margin to get that, to have that FreeSync running. Some of them, there was another one I even seen that was 48 frames, 48 to 75. That's a lot of tweaking. So that's, yeah, well, I think 1440p, if you've got one, fine, I'm not knocking it, I just don't think it's a good time to buy one. So back to 1080p. So we were just talking about before that, you do not want to buy another monitor. You know, we don't want to buy another monitor. It doesn't have to be that bad. For example, the monitor I've got behind me, my 24-inch one, they're going for 60 quid on eBay. I could sell that. And I actually bought this recently, which is the Yama, whatever it is, Yama, I don't know. I did used to know how to pronounce it, but I forgot. Now this is a 27-inch 1080p monitor at 144 Hz, which I bought second hand for £130. So if I sold that other monitor, this wouldn't cost me that much. And you are seeing like 24-inch 144 Hz monitors. Maybe someone's had it for a month or two on eBay for, you know, that are a bit newer than this for like £150. So sell your old monitor, buy that. And then the next option, because I still want, you know, I'd really like the high resolution. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to have a 1440p monitor or a 4K monitor for gaming. I would love that. I'm just not wasting the money on it. But what I have been using on the GTX 960, probably just on Battlefront, because most of the other games can't handle it, is I've been using DSR, Dynamic Super Resolution. So I'm rendering it at 4K, not in the videos that you've been seeing, but when I play, rendering it at 4K on medium to high settings back at 1080p, and it looks really nice. All the guns and everything look brilliant. And so yeah, even the RX480, it's probably going to be a bit too much for 1080p, so use VSR. Render the thing at 1440p and back down the thing. Just, like I said earlier in the video, you are never going to keep up with technology, but when it comes to monitors, I really think you should wait till 2017 before you invest in a newer, higher resolution monitor for gaming. If you've already got something that's capable for, it's good for gaming, or you're able to get something by selling a couple of monitors, getting rid of some old parts and putting a bit towards it, that's what you should do. So that is why I'm going to stay with a 1080p 144 Hz monitor for gaming until 2017.